in making more haste on his present evil purpose. He had taken a dreary road, darkened by all the gloomiest trees of the forest. "There may be a devilish indeed behind every tree," said Goodman Brown to himself, and glanced fearfully behind him as he added, "What if the devil himself should be at my very elbow?" His head being turned back, he passed a crook of the road, and looking forward again, beheld the figure of a man seated at the foot of an old tree. He arose at Goodman Brown's approach and walked on, side by side with him. "You are late, Goodman Brown," said he. "Faith kept me back a while," replied the young man with a tremor in his voice. It was now deep dusk in the forest, and deepest in that part of it where these two were journeying. As nearly as could be discerned, the second traveler was about 50 years old, bearing a considerable resemblance to Goodman Brown, though perhaps more in expression than features. Still, they might have been taken for father and son. The only thing about him that could be fixed upon as remarkable was his staff, which bore the likeness of a great black snake, so curiously wrought that it might also seem to twist and wriggle itself like a living serpent. "Ah, Goodman Brown," cried his fellow traveler, "this is a dull pace for the beginning of a journey. Take my staff, if you are so soon weary." "Friend," said the other, "having kept covenant by meeting thee here, it is my purpose now to return whence I came." "Sayest thou so?" replied he of the serpent. "Let us walk on, nevertheless, reasoning as we go. And if I convince thee not, thou shalt turn back. But we are a little way in the forest yet." "Too far!" exclaimed the good man, resuming his walk. "My father never went into the woods on such an errand, nor his father before him. We have been a race of honest men, and shall I be the first of the name of Brown that ever took this path and kept such company, thou wouldst say?" observed the elder. "I have been as well acquainted with your family as with ever a one among the Puritans. I helped your grandfather, the constable, when he lashed the Quaker woman so smartly through the streets of Salem. And it was I that brought your father a pitch pine knot to set fire to an Indian village in King Philip's War. They were my good friends, both." "If it be as thou sayest," replied Goodman Brown, "I marvel they never spoke of these matters. We are a people of prayer and abide no such wickedness." "Wickedness or not," said the traveler, "I have a very general acquaintance here in New England. The deacons of many a church have drunk the communion wine with me. The governor and I too, but these are state secrets." "Can this be so?" cried Goodman Brown. "Were I to go on with thee, how should I meet the eye of our minister in Salem village? Oh, his voice would make me tremble." Thus far, the elder traveler had listened with due gravity, but now burst into a fit of irrepressible mirth. "Ha, ha, ha!" he shouted again and again. "Well, go on, Goodman Brown, go on, but really don't kill me with laughing." "Well, then, To end the matter at once, said Goodman Brown, there is my wife, Faith. It would break her dear little heart. I'd rather break my own. If that be the case, answered the other, even go thy ways, Goodman Brown. I would not for 20 old women like the one hobbling before us that Faith should come to any harm. As he spoke, he pointed his staff at a female figure on the path, in whom Goodman Brown recognized a very pious and exemplary dame who had taught him his catechism. Marvel, truly, that Goody Cloyes should be so far in the wilderness at nightfall, said Goodman Brown. But with your leave, friend, I shall take a cut through the woods until we have left this Christian woman behind. Being a stranger to you, she might ask whom I was consorting with and whither I was going. Be it so, said his fellow traveler. Betake you to the woods and let me keep the path. The young man turned aside, but took care to watch his companion, who advanced softly until he had come within a staff's length of the old dame. The traveler put forth his staff and touched her neck with what seemed to be the serpent's tail. "The devil!" screamed the pious old lady. Then Goody Cloyes knows her old friend, observed the traveler. "Ah, forsooth! And it is your worship indeed," cried the dame. "Yea, truly it is, and in the very image of my old gossip, Goodman Brown, the grandfather of the silly fellow that now is. They tell me he is to be taken into communion tonight. But now your good worship will lend me your arm, and we shall be there in a twinkling." "I may not spare you my arm, Goody Cloyes, but here is my staff, if you will." So saying, he threw it down at her feet. Goodman Brown cast up his eyes in astonishment, and looking down again, beheld neither Goody Cloyes nor the staff, but his fellow traveler alone, who waited for him as calmly as if nothing had happened. "That old woman taught me my catechism," said the young man. And there was a world of meaning in this simple comment. They continued to walk onward. As they went, the elder traveler plucked a branch of maple to serve for a walking stick and began to strip it of the twigs. The moment his fingers touched them, they became strangely withered and dried up as with a week's sunshine. Thus the pair proceeded, until suddenly Goodman Brown sat himself down and refused to go any further. "Friend," he said stubbornly, "my mind is made up. Not another step will I budge.